As a kid, I was so blessed to have different people in my life. Different people meaning, well, I had to learn people of different color, different ethnicities. Had to try to sort out in my own mind as a small little kid. I was probably 4 or 5 years old when the first experience I had of someone who was from Mexico. He was an exchange student that we were blessed to have. He spoke funny, he looked a little bit differently, and I had to try to get my head around that. At times I was very intrigued, at other times it's like, well, why does he think or act that way? It's all part of maturing as we do as human beings. And then I had a beautiful experience when I was probably in about 4th or 5th grade and had the privilege of meeting a student who was a refugee from Vietnam. And he became part of our class. And I noticed within my heart, the Lord was filling me with the beautiful gift of love. Love for this very shy person and how he would be left out on the playground and other things. And my heart was drawn to get to know him. I learned so much, in a sense, by sitting at his feet and learning what the experience would be like from the inside of being in a culture, a setting that's different than what he grew up with and what I grew up with. I've learned in my years as before I was ordained a priest, and certainly in my priesthood as well, that the more I get to learn and to know people that have, if we use the example of different color skin, different ethnicities, I learned that my own mind needs to be expanded. My heart needs to be expanded. There's so much for me to learn. In the seminary and in my priesthood, I've been so blessed to get to know seminarians and priests, and some of them to work side by side as priests. A priest from Nigeria, a priest from Korea, a priest from Vietnam. And it's helped me to expand my horizons, and not just my diet, learn to love and eat what they eat. And not that I always loved it, but it's the differences. Do we look at them as something good or as something bad? We can learn from God because, of course, God gives us objective truth. And in this series that I'm doing right now of the true goodness and beauty, I'd like to focus today on the beautiful gift of ethnicity and the beautiful gift of being of a different color, of different ways of thinking and acting. We as human beings have the great privilege to receive God's beautiful gift of divine love. And when we allow that love to so fill us up, we lose the focus on everything else. So what is different suddenly becomes something beautiful and enriching. I think in this beautiful, beautiful image behind me, we have St. Catherine Drexel. And of course, a beautiful depiction of a Native American and of representing our own state here in South Dakota. In this beautiful image, I'd like to especially highlight, look at where it starts. It starts with Christ, the love of God flowing down. Look how the rays come down. And look how St. Catherine and both the Native American women look up at that beautiful image. When we receive the love of God in our hearts, we're able to receive that goodness of God as God designed each of us to be. And then we share that love with others. So we actually seek what's for their good, not for our own good or our own limited way of thinking and feeling and even loving. We learn to receive the love of God and we share it for what it is, sharing the beautiful gift of life and love together. We learn from the book of Genesis that when God created, for example, all the things in creation, He looked upon it and saw that it was good. But when He created man and woman, being so uniquely different in their own beautiful way, He said that it was very good. God created each of us, you and I, regardless of our skin color, our ethnicity, or any other difference. It is very good that God created. And in that, we just need to discover the beauty, the dignity, the truth of who God made us to be. I hope in this little document, you will be able to enjoy the beautiful gift that God has of enlightening our hearts and our minds so that we can receive the love of God and share that, as we see in the beautiful witness of St. Catherine Drexel and her love for the Native Americans. But it also gives me an opportunity as a bishop to apologize for all of those who, even within our own state, as I learn more about the history of our Native Americans and how painful and difficult it must have been to be forced down into reservations, how painful that must be, and the hurt that may still be there. Or we can think of, for example, in our own country and slavery and the great hardship against our dear brothers and sisters. As a leader in the church, I extend an apology on behalf of God and all of His goodness, that He desires all good things, all truthful things, and all things are beauty, which includes our differences. But in it, when we focus on how we are united, and we understand it and love each other as God made us to be, and we love each other with the love of God, we experience great spiritual delight. That's my hope and my prayer for all of us, to continue to learn, to grow in love of God, and sharing that love with others, because it is very good.